Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Connecting Mamas channel, where we're going to be adding a little bit to the channel as we start with our first interview with Mila. What we're going to be doing is called Mama's Genius Hub, Igniting and Connecting Passions. What this is all about is what it does is it's going to connect all you moms out there to your passions. And so if you're unsure of what those passions are or what pursuits you want to take, you want to come see me and we're going to ignite those through my courses. But what this here is talking about those of you that kind of already know what you're doing, but you don't think you can fit it into your schedule. So if you've always wanted to be that author and not sure how you can make that happen, that's why I brought Mila on today. She's going to help us figure out how we do the self-publishing, how we do those habits. Even as a busy mom, you can still author that book you've always dreamed of. So I'm so excited, Mila, for you joining us here today. And tell us a little bit about yourself. As I forgot your bio.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I've been a writer for a long time, and I always wanted to be a writer since I was 8 years old. And I'm now a writing, publishing, and public speaking coach. I had to reinvent myself during COVID because I wrote a book about my grandmother. This book from Cowgirl to Congress, and I thought I was going to be speaking all over the U.S. with it on a speaking tour, and then COVID hit, and the book came out right then. So I took all these classes and I reinvented myself online. I've always been a public speaker. My grandmother taught Eleanor Roosevelt to speak. And so then I just had to reinvent myself and I learned all these classes. And now for the last 2 years, I've been speaking once or twice a week online all over the world, which I didn't realize I could speak all over the world. So that was exciting. But when I was a little girl, we went and saw Mary Poppins, which dates me, the first Mary Poppins. And I came home and I did some chalk drawings. And I was going to jump into them. And I can't even draw stick people now. So they weren't very good. I shut my bedroom door and I closed my eyes and I really believed and I jumped in and nothing happened. So I tried like 8 times and still nothing happened. I still believe I can do it though. And so, then I thought, well, maybe if I can't jump into the chalk drawing, I could write it like the Bobbsey twins or Nancy Drew that I was reading. So I started writing my novel and I wrote 1.5 pages and I quit because I was 8. And then when I was 18, my mother tricked me into becoming a writer, which I'm going to trick all of you. Same thing. And she said, Mila, I know you've always wanted to be a writer. Why don't you write 1 sentence a day for a month? And I thought, well, I can write 1 sentence a day. Well, you can't. It's like potato chips. And I had to write 1 or 2 pages or more a day. And by the end of the month, I was a writer.
I love that. I love how you put that into frames of what. Listen to the guys out there. You're busy moms. You know all this. You got no time. I know it's always time is an issue. But how much time are we talking about a day, Mila, to make this happen?
Well, if you think about it, okay, here's a mother, Toni Morrison, the famous writer. She only had 15 minutes a day, she said, between raising children and working. She wrote her first novel in 15 minutes a day, and she became famous and wrote many more novels. And the word on the street right now is 20 minutes a day is all we ask. But I say even 5 minutes a day can add up to a book. So if you could just like have that one time, like wake up in the morning, write 5 minutes. And a lot of people, they come back at me and they say, Mila, you tricked me. I can't just write 5 minutes. I wrote more. But I say 5 minutes a day will add up to a book. But I'm tricking you like my mom tricked me.
I'm going to be starting this because I know that I keep saying that I know it's the consistency of it all, because sometimes we're just like, oh, I don't have time for that. And the thing with moms, I know it's that I can't spend a big enough chunk on it, then it's not worth my time, right?
No,
a lot of times
don't think that, please, because I used to do a thing, going to the gym, I have to have an hour or 2 hours to work out. Well, I finally figured it out. I walk in my street clothes, my work clothes, with my whatever shoes, and I walk for 20 minutes and I walk out, because it's better to walk 20 minutes than not. Same thing with writing. And I was a mother forever, and I homeschooled too, and everything, and I was running this huge theater program, but I was still try to write when I could. There were times I didn't write, but I wrote whenever I could, even if it was only for a few minutes, or to think about it.
Oh, I love that. And it really is that mindset shift, is that I have, especially those moms, as I learned, especially as my kids start to go elementary school, and you realize there are these little pockets of time. They will start to entertain themselves for just little periods of time before the chaos ensues. They're playing nicely together for a little bit, But that is like the perfect opportunity to take advantage of adding on to it. But I love how you say just 5 minutes first thing in the morning. Most of us have that 5 minutes before we deal. And it's a good way to have that self-care in terms of doing something for yourself before everyone else. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. And maybe even before bed, maybe after they go to bed. Or, you know, sometimes I used to think I had to be fresh to write. And I'm a I'm a lark. You know, my husband's an owl. You know, they say good marriages are a lark and an owl. So anyway, I would write in the morning and I just didn't think I could write any other time. Well, I found out that there's a trick. If I feel kind of lazy and tired in the afternoon and I start writing, and I scribble on paper instead of typing, which, you know, I do both, then I end up with deeper writing from being tired. And at night, if I write, I come up with deeper writing too. So it's almost like I get into my subconscious and better characters arrive. If I'm writing a novel, I write all kinds of books. You don't have to write one genre. You can write, I write business books, I write novels, all kinds, romance, historical, and memoir. So you know, and I work on sometimes 3 to 10 books at a time. Like this idea is coming. So okay, I open up this is a trick. You open up a desktop file for every idea you have, even if it's just you. Now I've got a title. I like that title. And then you brainstorm your titles with yourself, or maybe you have a character. So you just open up those files, and whenever the information comes to you, then you go in and put it in. Or I'm working on 2 or 3 books at a time. Maybe one I get writer's block, which I really don't believe in writer's block anymore. You just got to work through that. But then I work on another book, and then it feeds the other book, like Beehive.
Oh, I mean, and it's just funny is I haven't done it recently, but I actually had a folder where I would just keep like different, and then I look back at them, there's like 2 or 3 pages like in each document, but like now maybe it's time to revisit some of those. And when I was actually doing the 75 hard, maybe you could give me some tips on this for those of you out there. I wrote 1,500 words a day for 30 days. And so I have like this whole, I looked at it, was like 130 pages, but it's such
Wow.
a mess of like thoughts and stuff. Would you have any tips on what to do to go through that?
Well, sure. I'm going to teach a workshop for Dr. L soon on how to take material you already have written and put it into books. Like I bet a lot of you mothers out there have blogs or have had blogs. And so one woman I know, she had 500 blogs really well written. I said, hey, you've got 5 books there. So we started making books out of her blogs. It turns out she has 20 books because they filled it up. And so you could take your material that you have, like your 120 pages, and just go through it, clean it up, maybe organize it a little. Is it typed or handwritten?
It's typed.
Okay, good. So go through it and just keep working on it till you feel like it has shaped into something. And then I had another woman, and a lot of you women probably fit this. You went to college, you wrote a paper or a master's thesis, and we took her master's thesis, which was about altars, which was interesting because she had run our altar show here in our town for years. And so I said, okay, here's a template for you, you know, and take it. 6x9 is industry standard. So take your thesis. We copied it. I was working with her at the library. And in 5 minutes, we dumped it into the template, and she had a book because it was already edited, already really well done because she had turned it into school.
It's amazing that we just don't even, we think it's never good enough, right? That we're always, what can we do differently, and not even realizing all the stuff we had. The other thing I want to ask you about is that I know some people do this, and I don't know if you recommend or not, but some people use voice to text to write. What were your thoughts on that?
Yes, I've done a lot of anthologies. Like, let's see, we did the Cinderella monologues, you know, and we're doing the 2nd edition right now, and it's an exciting book because we have like 22 authors in it. Here they are on the back of the book, and a couple people just didn't get to the writing, and so I don't want to tell on them, but what I did was I got them on Zoom and I had them tell me their story for 20 minutes, half hour. And I had to do this also for interviews I was ghostwriting a business book for someone. And so I interviewed 8 people for the book. And you're surprised, you know, you interview them for 20 minutes, half hour, it turns into like 8, 10, 12 pages in a 6x9 book. And it comes out, here's the problem. If you do it on Zoom, it comes out a huge mess. It takes about about 3 hours to edit. So you have to get rid of the timestamps. I don't know why they have these 3 dots and these timestamps. So I do 20 minutes, get rid of all those, then back the sentences up into each other because they do a timestamp like every 3 or 4 sentences. So it kind of looks like a mess. So I tried not to say anything when I was interviewing the people. But I get on Zoom sometimes. I had one of my clients last week get on and just tell me her story. And then I sent her the transcript. I said, now clean it up. And here's the first part of your book. And also you can use Otter. Otter's, someone else has used one called Dragon, but Otters comes out a little cleaner than Zoom. But still, it works, And then you can also film yourself talking on Zoom and then put it on your YouTube. I've done that with many stories. And then there's a cool thing is that on Amazon, it's free to publish. And you can get tutorials on YouTube or take a class with someone like me, but you can take take all these YouTubes and publish your own books right on Amazon. And they have so many nice formats. And once you join KDP, here's the difference. There's Amazon where you buy, and there's a whole nother website called Kindle Direct Publishing. Doesn't mean just ebooks, it's for all books, hardcover, paperback, and ebooks and audiobooks. And so you get on that site and you do it early, way before you're going to publish, because they have a thing called KDP University. And you go in there and you can get templates to start typing your book into. 6x9 is industry standard. You may want to make a workbook to go with it. And then I'm always telling everyone, write the short book. This is my short book. This is just 70 pages. You see the difference between that and this one, right? And so this book here, I made into a PDF. And when I started speaking around the world, 2 or 3 years ago, I would give it away as my lead magnet, as my gift to everyone. Because when you speak on a podcast or a summit, they want a gift. So I gave away 5,000 copies and got 5,000 emails. And I had no emails when I started. And I just did it with the PDF. And then I finally made it into the book. So, and now I give that to all my clients. I take it with me. I do sales on it. It's sort of like showing me, okay, I'm the expert in this field. And that's what you would be showing as a mother, maybe an expert mother. I mean, there's all kinds of experts, right? And then maybe expert homeschooler, maybe expert whatever you went to college for. And a lot of people aren't really selling their books as much as teaching from the books they write. So I teach from this book. I give this book to everybody who comes and works with me. I get the PDF. And then sometimes when people start, I send it to them, because another attribute of Amazon is I can drop ship. Like I could just go in and get your address, Michelle, and then just put your address in and then buy the book at my cost, which is $2.50, and mail it to you for another $2.50. So Amazon has so many attributes. I teach a whole class on it. I mean, they give you a front web page for free. It's beautiful. You could, if any book you look up on Amazon, that's the kind of web page you'll get. And then you build it on the back end. Barely, they just have this form you fill out. You just put things in. It's not hard. And then you put your book up. You might get a cover maker from Fiverr. There's some really good cover makers on Fiverr, Fiverr, 2 R's. And you can get, you could try out like 3 cover makers for $45 each and see which one you like. Or there's a place called Book Cover Zone, and the covers are only like $80 and they're beautiful. Yeah, I have a lot of resources like that. But anyway, those are the 2 best ones for covers. So you just get a cover, you put it to specifications, and you load your book. And you get the shortest book you can put on Amazon with a spine. It's good to have a little bit of a spine. It's 36 pages. And yeah, and then 98 pages, you can put your title and name on the spine. There's not room on the spine till then. But what if you wrote, like anybody could write a 36-page book in a day or 2. Edit it, get it ready, and put it up in a week. Probably get a professional editor so we don't have more bad books. That might be your cost. And then you take that 36-page book and use it for the outline for your longer books. So then you make your 98-page book. Then you make your comfortable 120 to 135-page book. Then maybe if you want a longer book, the 200-page book. We're not doing missionary anymore. So the longest book we're doing is like 300 pages. And then you have 5 books. You don't take one down. You keep them all up, because books beget books and build your algorithms.
I love that. Well, I want to switch gears just for a moment, because one of the books that I worked on with you was the Parenting Handbook. But the reason why I want to bring this up is if you look at the back cover, I'm in here, yes, but also is my 12-year-old son. And so what I love about this is you moms out there is also inspiring your kids to be published authors as well. And I know Mila has a lot to tell us about that. And my daughter Bella is I know at some point she's not ready yet. She's only 10, but she's going to be working with Mila to write her evil pumpkin stories. I know it's coming. But what do you have to say about that? Inspiring the kids.
Well, those stories sound great. And I've done, that's an anthology you just showed us, which is the easiest way to be published, is be in an anthology. You only have to write like 2,000 words and then you're a published author. I mean, you can say it. I'm a best-selling published author. And her son, yeah, she is. And she did an anthology with her daughter. You did. And then her son, well. Yeah, see, and there's her daughter.
Bella's on this one and Liam's on the back of this one. So the age 12 and age 10, they're both published authors as well.
Yeah. And, and like Denise, who's in our other group that I'm in with Michelle with parenting, she helps people get into college. And she got very excited when she heard I was talking about the short book, because she said, if a kid applying for college had been published anywhere along the line, that would separate them and give them an advantage over the other applicants. So that's the thing, is maybe parents could work together with their kids, maybe each writing their own book, that's okay, or writing a book together, that's okay, any of these, or being in an anthology like you were with both of your kids now. And so, because no one's too young to publish. I've been doing anthologies for 40 years with different groups I teach and everything. And I did one anthology, very exciting, Michelle, with kids, a whole class. And we did a book called Dear Peter Rabbit. And so we made up letters to the characters in the Peter Rabbit story. Like some of the kids wrote, "Dear Mr. McGregor, we don't like that you chase a rabbit and try to kill him. That's mean." So, and I have the book, and some of them wrote beautiful things, like to the mother, to his sister, and to his cousin Benjamin, and to Mr. McGregor. And so it turned out to be a really good book, and I can't find it right now, and I want to publish it because it was such a good, I did it like 30 years ago with a group of kids. And so that's another idea, Michelle, is that parents could head up, so the kid doesn't have to write the entire book. They could write a chapter or a story in the book, and then there could be a collection of 10 stories, 20 stories. And then maybe one of the parents or teachers, maybe it could be a classroom project at school, they publish the book. I'm working with a few people on that. They publish the book as a group, and then there's not so much pressure on a child.
And, and both the kids, because of the anthologies, now have author pages on Amazon for being in those anthologies. Thanks to Mila showing me how to do that, is that those possibilities are all out there. And honestly, both of them did it through a summit, as Mila was saying, that they took the transcripts of and wrote up the summit talks into chapters, and we just kind of had to edit it and go through to make sure it was what they intended. And so there's so many different ways out there. And so the whole point of this interview right now is just you can be a published author. It doesn't have to be this one way to do it. And especially as busy moms, there's so many ways to do it. I mean, even as you were saying, anthologies, maybe getting a group of moms together or something, each writing your own stories.
Yes, you should.
Or something.
Yes.
And so there's just, the possibilities are endless. And that's what this channel, what this interview is all about. So Mila, I would love for you to tell us about some of your programs that people, if they're really feeling, Mila is great at this and she knows what she's talking about. She has all kinds of workshops and different activities and things that you can come join. And so let's hear a little bit about what you offer, Mila. They can come join if they want to.
Yeah, I have a lot. I'm kind of prolific. I've written 14 books, and my first 2 were traditionally published, but you have to wait so long for that. So I'm doing self-publishing more now. I'm saving a couple of my big novels maybe to try traditional publishing, which is a whole nother banana, a whole nother subject. But, you know, I'm doing the second edition of Cinderella Monologues right now. I still have room for a couple people to come in and tell their stories. We're going to have really good stories. Last time I kind of let it go too long. I had people do 5,000 words. That was too much. So we're doing 2,000 to 3,000 words. And I have some really good stories. Like one woman's coming in to tell a story how she saved all these buffaloes in a field in our neighborhood. They were starving because some man had an idea that, oh, it'd be romantic to have buffalo eat my grass. And he wasn't feeding them. And so she saved them. And one of them died, but she got the other two to a refuge. And she's trying to make a refuge now. So that's one of the stories. And so we have all these different kinds of stories. And then another thing I'm offering is to work with me one-on-one weekly. And that way I'm working with like 8 people right now, and I help 3 people publish their books in July, 2 in August, and 2 more this month. And sometimes they work with me for a while before they get to that point. Depending where you are, I can help I know the whole process from very beginning to all the way to advertising and following up. And so I'm helping people write and publish their books and get it done under my tutelage. And it's really give them all the resources, you know, even send them to a few other classes and all kinds of things. So that's a program I'm doing, and I'm doing it for very, very reasonable. Other people trying to do almost the same thing are kind of miffed with me for not charging enough. But I know that's what I could afford, so that's what I'm charging. But then I also have some really nice $27 classes on my website, milajohansson.com. That's just it, milajohansson.com. And on those websites, you can join, like right in on the 15th, we're doing a workshop with Lisa Fairland on crowdfunding for your book, and maybe crowdfunding for anything. She's an expert. And then I also teach write your short book in a day about 4 times a year. And then I also teach Amazon front and back a tour. And that's really fun. Those are just like $27 classes. And another one, public speaking, because my grandmother taught Eleanor and then taught me. And my grandmother took me along in her 90s when she spoke with Gloria Steiner, Marlo Thomas, and Jane Fonda in Hollywood all the time. And so anyway, I like to offer just really reasonable classes. It's a no-brainer. $27 coming in. You can see I kind of like a fire hose. I give a lot of information, but then you get a replay and you can assimilate it later. I like to learn that way. I have a verbal teacher I've been with for 17 years, and she gives us so much information, but I like that because I feel like I'm getting my money's worth, or just that I'd rather learn way too much and then assimilate it later. So that's how I teach.
I love that. I've been to a couple of your workshops, and I really recommend them. And again, for you busy moms, we're talking about a 1-day workshop where you can get a lot done. And so can you set aside a day for that? Or again, just think about all the possibilities you heard today in terms of what you can do to 5 to 20 minutes a day, or just ingraining and starting that, and joining anthologies, or getting your kids involved, doing something joint with them. There's just so many possibilities. And so if this interview sparked any passion or interest in you, I suggest checking Mila out. Or if you're still not sure quite what your topic might be, come check out Connecting Mamas, and we'll get some passion getting started in there. What do I want to write about? Figure that out with us, and then go check Mila out to actually get all the details on how to make it a published book. Ladies, let's say this. You can be a published author. I didn't think I could. And now I have 2 books right now. I'm working on getting my own book, but right now I can say I am a published author. And so can you. There's just so many possibilities out here. And that's what this channel is all about, just igniting and showing you the possibilities of what can be in the midst of motherhood, but enjoying it and bringing your kids along as well with you. Any final parting words for our moms out there?
The most important thing, just start. you know, I've had hundreds of articles written about me over the years because I've taught this theater program and all this stuff, and they always end up entitling it. And I have some articles at home, just start or just do it. So don't wait for everything to be perfect. It never will be. And don't hide behind editing and research. Just do new writing and then fix it later. I always say, pick out your 20 minutes, do new writing, and then if you want to research and edit later, do that, but don't hide behind it. I used to hide behind it. Just do it.
I totally agree. I'm so inspired. I'm going to just do it as well. And just come check us out, ladies, moms. And that's what this is all about, is just inspiring and seeing what is it that is inside of you that needs to come out, let's in motherhood still make that a reality. We don't need to wait till later. We don't need to wait till they're in high school or in college or any of that stuff. Let's start now. And this is what this channel is all about. Thank you, Mila, so much for being here. You gave me so many ideas. So I know you've given the audience so many ideas. Let's just start writing, and check Mila out if you want to get that self-publishing going. She's a great place to start, and I'll see you guys all next